Peace and Black Power family, Harlem educator, author, and activist, the Black Liberation Coach, Brother Agyei Taimba. It is truly a blessing to be alive and breathing, family, to have this kind of internet fellowship, if you will, with you. This is our Black Power sermon. We're hijacking Sundays, and we're making it for the people who are politically minded. All right, family, I'm going to have to end this broadcast. I'm having technical difficulties. Coming right back. Peace and Black Power family. So, we had some technical difficulties. My computer bugging out, so I had to kind of come back using my cell phone as the camera. Family, uh, things happen that are unexpected. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to what happens, right? We just don't not have a broadcast. We just find another way to have it. In any event, today what we are talking about is that people can choose their own lane. What do we mean? You know, family, sometimes we get in this black liberation movement, we get a few notches on our belt, recruit some members to an organization, give some public speeches, and we become tyrannical. We start thinking that our way is the only way. Or we start thinking that we have the right to tell people how they are to move. Now, granted, there are some best practices to Black liberation movement, like anything else. Like, for instance, if I was an electrician, I would tell you a best practice probably is if I'm dealing with wire, not to lick my finger and touch it. Black liberation has best practices, work ethic, authenticity, study, serious study of your history, the people that came before you, having a craft that you develop over time and you master, right? But outside of those, and of course, love for Black people and not working with our enemies. But outside of those few critical things, there's a lot of room for diversity in our movement. Over and over, and throughout the years, since I've been a teen, I've heard people in the movement tell people, if you serious, you got to pick up the gun. Well, that's not everybody's thing, right? Everybody doesn't need to be in your military. That's a small minority of your population. So that's not right and exact to tell people that. So now people are going around thinking, well, if they don't want to pick up the gun, they're useless to the Black Liberation Movement, and nothing could be further from the truth. We got people that write, and we got other people who are more militant who will say, all you do is write. Man, we need you to get down with this Black Liberation Movement. Well, and the writers should be saying, yeah, we are down with the Black Liberation Movement. But the lane we chose was writing, family, right? Some of the first people that these repressive sort of regime leaders in different countries kill when there's an uprising are poets, writers, and teachers. The first people they kill when they want to repress a revolution. Why? Because it's those people who are pumping out very powerful political ideas, disseminating these political thoughts to the masses of people. You know, the very first people with the American Revolution, it was a man named Thomas Paine, and he wrote a pamphlet called Common Sense. And that pamphlet circulated all across the colonies, and it galvanized people. He was a writer. He didn't pick up one gun. He didn't fight in the war. He chose his lane was to write and to disseminate information. And something that we really have to understand, family, is that we have to stop treating this so simplistically and being so rigid. One of the things that makes leaders great leaders, as I said in my book on leadership, which I think y'all need to go cop, y'all need to cop that book on leadership, is that creativity is a much underrated attribute of great leadership. Leaders have to be creative. That is to say, that leaders are supposed to see possibility where others see none. Leaders see potential where others see none. So if you're looking for everybody in the Black Liberation Movement to be great shooters and very militant, then you missed the boat. Some of our people weren't made that way. They weren't built that way. Shooting is not their greatest attribute. The qualities that make for a good soldier, some of our people don't have those qualities. And you wouldn't want some of those people to be in that position in your army anyway, would you? But they might be great orators, poets, writers. They might be great at keeping books, being accountants. They might be great attorneys and lawyers, which we need in this struggle, right? They might be great behind the scenes grassroots organizers. It may not be, if you think that the person has to be the greatest speaker to be the leader, you got that wrong too. We need all types of Africans and New Africans involved in this movement. Then you got the people that's like, if you're not boots on the ground, then you're not down. Wait, hold on. So you mean to tell me revolutions don't need radio broadcasters to get the word out to people in mass? You mean to tell me that revolutions don't need teachers, professors, scholars, intellectuals? You mean to tell me that all revolutions need is military? Then if you believe that, you got to go back to school. Look at the nation. Most of you are watching in the United States right now. Think about in an average week all the different things you do in this country, and then you'll understand what it takes to have a nation. Because that's what we're after. We're after nation. I know I am. I didn't join this to be cute. I didn't join this to get no dates. I didn't join this to be popular to nobody, to get people to agree. I could give a damn. I got involved with this because I wanted to participate in a movement to liberate Black people. It so happens that my particular gifts are writing and speaking and leading, organizing people. So I use those things, but that may not be your skill set. So you reserve the right to choose how you're going to use your gifts, your talents, your personality, your skill set for our people. And for some people watching this now, or who will watch in the later recorded version, you may determine I'm terrible as a speaker. I'm not a great writer, but I'm really good at planning. We need people who are tactical minded and strategic. They may never hold a gun, right? They may never be at the rally mobilizing people, but they may be the person that say, this is how, when the protesters go out, this is how they should line up. And when those protesters go out, we should anticipate that the cops are going to come. And when the cops come, these are the formations the cops come in for a reason. So these are the formations we're going to be in for a reason. When those cops come, we're going to have a whole bunch of people surrounding the perimeter with backpacks filled with marbles. What? Yeah, filled with marbles. So when them cops are running, they're gonna let all the marbles go, let them cops bust their ass, chasing behind us. Strategic, right? I want you to think about the nation you're in. Is every citizen a police officer? No. A very tiny fraction. In New York City, where I live, there's close to 8 million people. There's like 35,000 cops, family. I'm going to say that again. There's 8 million people and 35,000 cops. The military is a minority of people. We don't need everybody in our military. We don't want every black person in our military because some of us are out of shape. We couldn't run a half a block without passing out. Our aim ain't steady. We scared. So you don't want them in there, right? So we have to let people within reason exercise their right to choose what lane they're going to run in. And there are plenty of lanes. If you look at a racetrack, the average, when you see track and field, like on the Olympics on TV, it has 8 lanes. There's not a whole bunch of people running on one lane. There's different lanes. There could be a lane, if you will, for agriculture, right? And even in agriculture, it's not one type of person. There's farmers who do the actual in the soil work, but there's scientists, family, that go to the soil and test the soil to see does it have the requisite minerals and nutrients to grow said crops. And they don't get their hands dirty to the extent that the farmer does, but yet the farmer's work would not be as complete if it weren't for those scientists, family. Trying to get us to sophisticate our thinking about things. Everything isn't so simplistic. All we need is people with guns talking about black power and we be free. Come on now. We need people that come up with revolutionary theory. In theory, to the best of my knowledge, having studied the man as best I could and talked to the elders that walked with him, Malcolm wasn't going around shooting nobody. Let's keep it real. Malcolm wasn't part of an army as such as we know it. Malcolm was the general. Malcolm was the one who put forth the Black Liberation Theory so that these people with guns knew who they were shooting and why. Is anyone feeling me? It's very important we understand there's different lanes, family. So let's take in this given week coming up. Where are you going to go throughout that week? Well, some of you are going to mail something. Some of you got some mail to send off to grandma or auntie, right? Or your kid in college or whatever. What's that mean? We need post office? Yeah. A nation needs a mechanism that's structured and reliable to distribute mail. You're going to turn on your radio or you're going to go on your smart TV and you're going to listen to the news. So you mean a nation needs the capacity to disseminate information, to get news out to people. They're not holding no gun, family. Their job is to disseminate news efficiently and effectively to the nation. You may go somewhere and take your kid to the public library. Librarians don't walk around packing. Librarians ain't leading rallies. They're in an institution designed to make knowledge available to the public and research tools available to the public. All of these people are important. There is no you're more important. They're all important. Without any of these facets, your nation is incomplete. You know what I'm saying, family? It's kind of like, imagine if we as humans, all we were bodies with no heads. We could do things, but we wouldn't even get input to tell us what to do, what to move, where to go. We'd just be bodies lumbering around. Or if we were just heads with no bodies, We could think, but we wouldn't have the capacity to act upon thought. That's why we have a head and a body, family. It's right there in front of us. We need theory or things that are intellectual connected to the ability to make these things actionable. So with the head and body, we can now think, strategize, compute, analyze, and we can now act upon that information. So it's very important that we don't become political bullies. Yes, we need to have best practices, and yes, we should hold people accountable to some standard so we're not running around here like chickens without heads. But people have a right to choose for themselves where to get in where they fit in. Now, notice I said to get in where they fit in. Some people may want to be this, and their skill level may not be up to par, or their personality is not such that they can do that. So, in that case, we have a capacity through organization to train people, and maybe we'll get them up to speed. But there's sometimes that we got to tell people, like those shows where you sing, and people competing, and the person's way off key, and he says, sorry, baby girl. Sorry, brother. Not this round. You're not ready, not for this. Right? But outside of that, people have a right to choose. Sister Elena, I see in the building, and she made a statement. Yes, as an Islam nation, we can have our own poster. Yes, we can establish our own institutions and international agencies that will help us once we perfect the U.S. Afro-Descendant Confederate Nation State. Please Google UNDP and UNCTAD. Absolutely. Then the Queen Bee, Brenda says, determine what you are excellent at and love to do. Absolutely. They're very important, family. We were just, she and I were kind of talking about this a little bit earlier, and this is very important. So many people who would be great in certain capacities serving the people get demoralized and say, I can't do that. Because they're saying, I got to pull out guns, and this person's not about guns, right? Or in order for me to be a part of this, I got to be the great speaker. And some people don't have that skill set. So we must expand how we see ourselves and our capacity. We need post offices, transportation mechanisms. What does this mean? We need administrators. We need people who have mastered the art and science of running large-scale institutions and operations, making sure people on time do what they're supposed to do, being where they're supposed to be, and that jobs get done efficiently and effectively. That's administration. We need administrators of our schools and of all of our institutions. We need military, yes. What about the people who create laws? Do we need laws? Or if we're going to be self-governing and self-determined, will we not need laws? What are those people called? Legislators. Oh, so you mean, yes, we need a Congress or an assembly or a parliament, a body of people whose job it is and task it is to provide legislation and law and order to the people. So everybody, so while the police in our nation, not these crackers, but while the police in our nation are doing their job, keeping us safe and secure, there's other people that's making sure that the school that your son and daughter goes to is equipped with highly qualified teachers who love and care for your child and going to do the best job they can teaching them. And while your children in school, there's other people at the bank and the credit unions in our nation making sure that your money is gaining interest as it lays there, right? And while you're looking at the money in the bank, there's other people that are making sure that even mundane things you don't think about with a nation, things like people who are providing food, growing the food you eat, the people in the trucks who transport the food where it's grown to your market in your city. Or you want to go on vacation and you want to go over to Cuba and you want to build with Sister Asada Shakur. So you need pilots, family. All of these things. Everything isn't political in the way we think, but we need all of these things in place, right? And we need people there who are what? Competent? Would you want to be on the plane going to the on your way to the bathroom, hearing the one guy say, "Well, I'm so glad I got this job because God knows I sure failed all those pilot tests." How would you feel about that? I'm just curious. Those who don't believe in that we need to be competent, how would you feel about that? Or you're on the operating table for your heart surgery, and as you doze off from anesthesia, you hear the one guy say, "Man, yeah, I was. How did you get it?" I said, "Man, I paid this guy some money. My family's rich, but I suck at surgery." How would you feel about that? No, you want people to be competent, but we can't be political bullies. We have to allow some room and flexibility. Guess what? In the nation, you need entertainment too. So you need some singers and some dancers and people who are into theater and drama. We need musicians, don't we? All of those people play a part, fam. All of those people have a place at our table. Some will have a more important slot only because of the nature of what they're doing and how many people it affects. But it's very important that we really get away from this really outdated thinking like we just need two types of people in our nation, or our nation just needs to have a military. We need government. Guess what? And when we become an independent nation, and I see a lot of people here, Sister Lena Porter's here. We got Brother Ramzu. I don't know if he's here in the building. We got a lot of Daniel Guttridge. There's a lot of Sister Mayat in Mississippi. A lot of people are fighting for us, family, to build a nation. Once we have a nation that's recognized by other nations of the world, we might need to do business with them. They're going to have goods and products we don't have indigenous to where we are. So to get those products, we have to do international business with other nations. This means we have to have trade agreements with nations. There might be beef between our nation and another said nation. We may need ambassadors to go to nations and say, listen, when Brother Agyei was talking that, he didn't mean you. In other words, you need ambassadors to smooth out, to create smooth, peaceful, productive relations between countries or to broker deals between companies. We need all types of people. So when we raising our kids, we can tell them, listen, there's room for you to play a role in the Black liberation movement. It's not as rigid as I think previous generations thought. There's room for those who just come up with really good ideas and know how to persuade people. They're going to be part of that marketing thing. The publicists, the publishers, right? All of these people we need in our nation. But to get the nation, there are certain key people we need: the lawyers and attorneys, the human rights defenders, the grassroots community organizers, and the educators to teach the people what it is they need to know to move in the way we need to move. So all I'm saying, family, is on a track, there's 8 lanes. In the Black liberation movement, there's at least 20 different positions we can play. Please don't tell the people that in order to be real, they got to pick up a gun. Please don't sell that lie and foolishness to our people. Please don't tell the people that they got to be an attorney. Everyone won't be an attorney. We have attorneys. We need attorneys, but that's not all we need. Please let the writers and the intellectuals know there's a place for them in the nation. The ambassadors, the entertainers even, the legislators, the administrators of large-scale operations and institutions. All of these people are needed. Let us not browbeat people or shame people into thinking they got to be the way we are or do what we do. That would be like me raising my daughters and telling them, oh, well, Daddy is a writer and a speaker and a community organizer. And I do videography too. And if you're a real Taimba, you got to do that too. No, 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 no. If you're a real Taimba, you got to do something to help Black people. But the way you choose to do that can manifest or express itself in a myriad of ways, family. Let us not be so rigid that we actually sabotage our own revolution because of our failure to understand the complexity and diversity of revolution and of what it takes to make real social change. I want to thank all the people coming in. Sam McClure's in the building. Sister Henny Miller is in the building. And so many people. Elena Porter in the building, who does great work. Elena, why don't you put up the link to your organization? We got my Queen Bee, Brenda Hilaire. She's talking about doctor. Hey, how can I forget doctors? Hello. Do we need doctors? Yeah, we need. So that means you need what? A facility to train doctors. So you need medical schools. To have medical schools, you need what? Teachers. Y'all feeling me? This is a lot more, I think, nuanced than we give this credit for when we talk about revolution. Contractors, absolutely clean. We need people that are builders, building structures, buildings, and all that, right? All of these things we need, family. So as we're teaching and we're organizing the community, just remember, don't shame people into thinking that if they're not doing exactly what you do, that they somehow selling us out. That's not true. We don't want to teach false teachings, family. And with that said, I'm going to let you go. That was our Black Power sermon today. Let people choose their own lane. If people want to write, let them write. Give them some guidance. Make sure they're good at what they do. Make sure they're not writing some nonsense and stuff like that. They want to act. They want to teach. They want to build. They want to farm. They want to heal. They want to legislate. They want to be an attorney. They want to be an ambassador. There's room for all of it. There's room for all of it. We need all stripes in this revolution. One person ain't going to do this. And one type of skill set ain't going to do it. And one type of character trait ain't going to do it, family. With that said, thank you so much for joining. Peace, Black Power, Wukusu. And you know what I believe? I'm going to change it. I used to say we will win. Now I'm going to project to the universe through divine utterance. We are winning. Peace, family. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy your weekend. And if you're in a place that's hot like I am, get your water on, hydrate yourself, family. Peace.